that new Eric Rosen YouTube series that Pragg watched?
I do not know, but
incredible game, and it was the Grand Prix attack apparently, and at the highest level. I don't really know last time somebody checked the Grand Prix, but there you go. There we go. It's on the board.
I think that deserves an action replay, Arthurs, even if we don't dive into the moves specifically because they're already in the middle game, but we gotta show to everyone why this is not usually seen at the highest level. Arthurs, over to you. Please explain this variation.
Well, my knowledge here on is really limited. I can tell you only this. It works really well at the club level because it is very simple. You play bishop c4, you play d3, jaune castle, f5, and you go for the checkmate. And that's why this is a highly successful line. But I suspect that the highest level, it probably is not that simple. However, in the last years, the trend in opening theory obviously is changing, and the most important thing is to surprise the opponent. So that's why Pragg going for the close Sicily and then for the Grand Prix attack is definitely something that Anish did not expect. Here, instead of bishop c4, why play bishop e5, a4? So it's a very interesting mix between the anti-Najdorf, anti-Sicilian, whatever you call it, combine it with the Grand Prix attack. Let me just fast forward to the critical moment. There you go. The bishop goes back to c4, e6, clearly anticipating f5, and after a couple of moves, f5. There you go. It was on the board.
This is, again, like, what a tournament we're witnessing when on the very first day the guns are out, everyone is going for it. There is no solid play. There is no, I'm just testing out the waters. Everyone is so sharp, aggressive, taking chances and risks. f5, if we look at just at that moment when f5 was pushed, how many of Black's pieces are controlling that square, Arthurs? You would think that that's the one square that White can't step onto, you know? It's like, there's just so much. Black is focusing on that square, and yet Pragg is saying, you know what? Here's a pawn, take it. So why this sacrifice works, Arthurs? What's the power behind moves like this?
Yeah, that's obviously a very good question because it opens up the bishop on c1 and the rook on f1. And the big idea is to expose the black king because, for example, this is what Anish played, e takes on f5, queen e1. And I think it's very scary for black here to play short castle because White's typical idea here is to play queen h4, play bishop h6, play knight g5. As you can see, the knight on g5 together with the tandem with the queen on h4, it's a direct checkmate on h7, maybe even knight g5 immediately. And it just looks so scary. All of White's pieces are literally looking at the black king, and that's why Anish's response, it makes perfect sense. He keeps the king in the center, he tries to protect his king, and a couple of moves later he was seen running towards the queen side. So this already feels like to be an opening success for Pragg. Queen e7, queen c4, black cannot castle the short side, long castle is the only opportunity, and this means this is going to be an absolutely mind-boggling game because now the both kings are positioned on the opposite sides of the board. one thing that white needs to watch out is some potential fortress. Because let's say if I play h7, what if black sacrifices takes on f6 allows white to queen, king g5, rook f6, queen, and build some kind of a fortress. Let's say here, play king d7, king c7. But that's the thing, I don't think this is even a fortress, because there's just a check and collect the pawn on b7. Because if black was able, let's say, let me show you a couple of moves. If black was able to get to this position, maybe it's a fortress. It doesn't look like a fortress, but I mean, still, it's worth a shot. But I don't think that white has to test this. So once again, I think h7 is very clean. If you give a check, here, takes, here, there's no fortress. This is a check, this is a problem. The king is too far away. And if black plays here, it's just rook b6.
I think this might be what we will see on the board, and in that case I think Anish will resign. Essentially, this game is heading toward that final handshake. The rook is on b6, attacking the b7 pawn, threatening h7. Maybe we could go full screen, because that concludes a very well played game by Praggnanandhaa, who surprised Anish Giri in the opening and has put pressure on the Dutch number one from the very beginning of the game. What an excellent play by Pragg, who is considered to be one of the favorites. Not as heavy of a favorite as Caruana or Nakamura, but I think he's one of the surprise favorites for the event, also named by Magnus Carlsen as a player with a very good chance.
So Anish is gonna make a couple of moves. Rook takes on c4, of course. You have to always fight it out until the very end, until there's a hope. Here h7 feels to be very logical. I think the game's gonna wrap up like in 1 minute.
h7, threatening promotion. The black rook will need to get behind the pawn or go to the back rank to stop the pawn, and that's when you will use your king and rook to help the promotion. Of course, the b7 pawn is also hanging with a check, so Pragg can capture that pawn. Now, our next move, whenever he chooses to, he's about to push h7, threatening promotion.
Yeah, that's it. And h7 is on the board, and there's the resignation. Anish Giri resigns and allows Praggnanandhaa to score the first victory of the tournament, and also he's catching up with Javohir Sindarov, who is currently the co-leader of the tournament, 1 point out of 1 games. Another victory with a white color.